Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Back at you, Gloves Off. I'm Professor Buitrón. I'm sitting here with Attorney Sergio Keko Martinez. How are we doing, Counselor? You doing good?
Fine, Paul.
It's great to have you here. We've been friends for a long time.
And we have been friends for a long time.
We're talking about some of the mounts up here that your brother did, and God make him rest in peace, Great man. But you're here for a new venue that you're going in, a new little adventure you're going to take on, and it's called the campaign. Let me tell you this, why would you throw your name back in the race?
Well, I didn't throw my name back in the race. I filed within the deadline, and I did it for a reason. My group, a lot of friends that live in the District 8, were very enthusiastic that we were going to support Alisa Cigarroa. I met with her father, La Reinera, and Alisa, and we swore that we were going to help her out. However, apparently, unbeknownst to us, my group and myself, which are comprised of very honest, hardworking people in District 8 for the city of Laredo, we were not advised that she was not going to qualify as a candidate on the ballot for District 8. And the reason was that somebody that's in her campaign dropped the ball and didn't advise her to change the voting certificate to be able to vote in District 8 to qualify as a candidate. I have a paper here, cause number 2020 CDK 1418D3, 341st District Court, Alisa Cigarroa versus Jose Valdez in the city of Laredo in Webb County, Texas. And here the judge basically disqualified her as a candidate. She recognized that she could vote as a registered voter in District 8 because the election is in November the 3rd of 2020, which is months away from the deadline she was supposed to meet and be an eligible, qualified voter of District 8. She is not. We were going to support her. We had a meeting organized by Mr. Poncho Caso in St. Peter's Plaza. All the people that live in District 8 that are interested in making a change, having a change in our representative for District 8, met her. Very beautiful. It was democracy at work. However, I questioned as a lawyer, being a lawyer for 40 years, I questioned what was the technicality of when she was being disqualified. There was a lawyer there at the Placita, St. Peter's Plaza, known as Rudy Morales. He failed to advise me. He didn't want to let us know what the technicality. Apparently, he's on board helping her out, hired by the Cigarroa family. And he didn't want to tell her the truth. I mean, we start with lies. We start with half-truths. We start with withdrawing of information, failure to disclose. And that's not democracy. That's what our group stood for. All the people there knew each other. And I said, well, is there anybody here in the gathering that's willing to run against Mr. Bali, who is the incumbent? I asked Rudy, people know you run a race, we'll support you. You want to run? No, sir. Vicky Garcia, who ran against Mr. Bali last campaign, I asked her, Virginia, you want to run? No, sir. I asked Rachel Ibarra, also known, and she's running for a school district position against Claudia Bali, along with Lupillo Gomez as well, running against Mrs. Bali. She said, no, sir. I asked people there that are known, nobody wanted to run. So I thought that it was important to get a qualified person, eligible voter, District 8, to run against Mr. Bali. Nobody did anything, so that was on a Thursday. On a Friday night, I talked to some people, and they said, Keko, go ahead and run. So that's why I filed. Because basically, I want to make a change. We need to get another representative in District 8. Let me say something, Mr. Buitrón, Paul, from Ecoli Paul. Mr. Bali in 2014 ran for the unexpired term that Cindy Liendo created when she ran for the mayor. Mr. Bali at the time didn't live in the district. Okay, he didn't live in the district. Everybody knew. His daughter was attending a school at United Independent School District when Mr. Bali ran for office, and then later moved into the Christian area and attended school there. And he went unchallenged. He went unchallenged by anybody for 2 years. He runs again. He changed his homestead now. Recently, he just changed it, so he qualified to run in the district. We have no bones about that. However, Ms. Cigarroa, knowing full well that she was not an eligible person to run in District 8, wanted to do exactly what Mr. Bali did in 2014. That's wrong. That's wrong. Support somebody that is able to qualify on the ballot and support him. But I don't know what her reasons are. I think that she's being ill-advised. Of course, there's a lot of money in campaigns, especially when people come from groups that want to take over the political power from the people, and as a group, control the city of Laredo. There are big contracts that are coming up. There are contracts for the convention center, there are contracts for the outer loop, and you're talking about big bucks. And I saw it as a commissioner. I was a commissioner for 4 years.
Sure, I remember.
Precinct 4. You recall? I stopped a lot of corruption. I had the audacity and the valor and the will to protect the citizens of our county. There was an abuse of violations of law for the certificates of obligation. They wanted to buy a building, the county. One commissioner was pushing it. They wanted to pay $2.1 million for a building that was worth $680,000. And I didn't let them because they violated the law. We called our bond counsel, and our bond counsel said, who's the lawyer in the group that is opposing it? And they mentioned my name to the bond counsel. He was from Austin. And he said, well, you better follow his lead because you guys are violating the law. So we made a motion, it got struck down. There was another attempt to buy a building downtown for more money than what it was worth. Ill-equipped to handle the needs of the people of Wood County. We ended up buying a building right by the expressway that a title company owned. We bought it for $1 million. Beautiful building, plenty of space, plenty of parking, and it only cost us $1 million. Less than half of what the other people wanted to buy and violate the law. And these are the things that I as a commissioner did. I protected the citizens of Wood County from alleged misuse, misappropriation of funds.
You know, there's a lot of stories of those that misappropriation of funds and abuse of power and contracts being filled out, and you know, all that continues, and it resonates in Laredo every year. And what I see right now, with so many candidates running for each position except for against Councilman Torres, but you see so many candidates, not only the school board, you see them in the college, you see them in District 7, 8, 5, that, and it only there's so many, it only tells you one thing, and that is people do not trust our local government, and we need change. And people need change. And it's sorry that Ms. Cigarroa was ill-informed, as it looks like. And you know, I think she should have gotten a shot at it back then. But when you go against the law, you can't. So, you know, I'm sorry that happened. But I think she's still on the ballot, or what is it?
No, she's not on the ballot, sir. That's a misstatement. That's incorrect. She is a writing candidate. I seriously question the legality of the signs after she's been declared ineligible to run in District 8. I question the fact that the signs are still up, because it's misleading the public. I mean, people see her signs there. I think the proper thing to do ethically, remove the signs and then go and walk and tell people to write in. But I think by putting the signs, you're misleading people. And I think the people have to be aware of that. You mentioned a thing, Paul, that a lot of people are running. But people can see, I think that the voters should be able to see who is genuinely interested in providing good government, or who wants to get a position to control where the money from the city of Laredo or what county or any other entity, governmental entity, goes to. Because some people go in there to fill their own pockets. I saw it. There's a case right now. A gentleman pled guilty in federal court in Houston. He got sentenced to 15 months and then 2 years supervised release. He ran against me. When he ran against me in 2010, he violated the law. He used the kitchen for the Meals on Wheels program. The employees were told to report Saturday morning to do an inventory my blank. They were told, no, we're not going to do an inventory now. We're going to prepare 1,500 plates for a private sale candidate who's running for office against Commissioner Martinez. And look where he's now. Why? Because there was never any intent to really govern and do well for the public. The intent there was there to let me fill my pockets with money and greed, and I can be very successful because I'm going to have a lot of money. There was no need for that person to have done that. You know why? He had a job as a commissioner that paid over $75,000. And then he had a position with United Independent School District. Again, the United Independent School District political machinery put him there as a commissioner. And he was getting paid over $80,000 to be a hearing officer. That's $155,000 annual income that he had. Who in Laredo has that kind of a job? Opportunity to make that kind of money. I've done it, but I started working at 7 in the morning and quit at 12 o'clock at night for 20 years as a practicing attorney. Why? Because I come from a family of 12. I come from a family of 12 where my father worked for the civil service employee as a builder, construction inspector for the federal government, and then on weekends we had to go and build houses, we had to build apartments, we had to do remodeling, so that my father could be able to support us and make sure that all our basic needs were met. Not luxuries, not a Cadillac, a convertible to go to a college or anything like that, but rather to be able to make sure that all 12 children had the basic essential needs met.
Absolutely. You know, when I hear these stories, you know, it kind of knocks you around a little bit, you know, and why? Because a lot of, and I know most of them and their friends, acquaintances, most public officials that, you know, we meet, and they're good people, they go in there, it's good people. But then there's always something when it's for re-election. And that's when they start getting worried, and that's when they take the bait or do something illegal that they did not want to do it knowingly, and it happened. And that's when many of them get into trouble.
Well, Paul, it's a matter of how you're brought up. I come from a family of 12. My father served his country in uniform, World War II, and he was a great generation, as they're called. He was a Marine. He fought. He came back to Laredo, got married, was already married, raised a family, 12 children, and there were 9 of us. However, my father, we begged him to bring 3 other cousins whose mother died very young at 33 of cancer, and we brought them from San Antonio, and they live with us, and they're members of our family. But my father, work ethic, my father's moral values, a very reserved, quiet man, very intelligent. He was valedictorian in his class, very smart individual, but poor. But he had his ethics, he had his values, and let me tell you, he dispensed with judicial administration, known as a belt, very frequently to everybody. And he kept us in line, and all of us went to college. All of us got degrees, aeronautical engineers, teachers, nurses. I became an attorney. 3 brothers and sisters that went and had a job as a law enforcement officer. Again, they are supposed to protect the public. My brother did 45 years law enforcement. He died from the COVID pandemic. My brother Boyo, very well known, put a lot of programs in school for children throughout. So, you know, it's the ethic that you raise, how you're raised at home, that determines you go straight or you're gonna go crooked. And my father was a man that believed, he worked for the federal government to begin with, but he was a hunter, he was an outdoorsman. He did a lot of good things in life, taught us a lot of good values, and my mother as well. My mother comes from La Teca neighborhood, Los Gamboas, very well-known family. And she was very strict with us as well. She made sure that we were well-fed, well-dressed, clean, did our homework. And then, when she couldn't control us, she called the authority known as Beto Martinez, my father, and he would administer justice. So, these are the ethics that I was born with.
Well, you know,
And I had it hard, Paul. Don't take that.
no. We know, and you know, all of us come from there. You know,
Yes.
and let me put it to you this way. I know your heart is there because you've been there, you
I've
raised
been
there, you
there.
still live there. Now, what would you like to see different? Not only in the district that you're running in, but in Laredo. What would you say? You know what? This is what I want to go in there and tackle. These are the problems.
Let me tell you, Paul. I think a lot of the problems here is that children, just like when I was growing up, they lack opportunity, especially right now. The way the economy is, we need jobs, we need economic development. We missed the beat of having a very big positive program slip through our hands. That was the Fifth Bridge, where people, the HRDD Trust, were going to donate 300 acres, no cost to the county citizens. $1.9 million was going to be donated in land. One owner on this side, U.S., one owner, the Grafito Montemero family on the Mexican side. We were not going to have to take people away, upset their house, buy eminent domain, the property, 534 families this side, and more in the Mexican side. We didn't have to do that because it was one owner, a deed gets given for the project. We had investors, the state was in on it. Kansas City Southern was going to do a loop. I understand that I read the paper, correct me if I'm wrong, that President Trump okayed a permit already for the Fifth Bridge, and the opportunity is still there. The city can exercise its extraterritorial jurisdiction and build the land over there. I served honorably for 4 years plus as municipal court judge for the city of Rio Bravo. I was appointed, I didn't have to run. And I served honorably because there was no scandal or anything like that, funds were missing or anything. I told them I don't want to handle funds because I know where the pitfalls are or how somebody can do something bad and then blame you. So I said, I'll be a judge, I'll administer justice, we'll do whatever we have to do, but I'm not going to handle the money. I was wise. And that's what needs to do that. We need to look at the system for the city has to make sure that money doesn't get lost. And I have experience in that field. And this is one project for economic development that can be done. The other one is, we've always had politicians say, we can renovate downtown. Sure, we can. But we at the same time have to allow businesses not to have that many restrictions so they can develop. They can bring their ideas forth, appoint a committee of people downtown that own businesses, small owners, and see how they can revive that.
I'm glad you're talking about small owners, small business. You know, with this COVID crisis, Laredo bullied a lot of small businesses into submission. Some of them will never open up again. You know, they have apparently a loan that's going to go out there. 'Cause it's not a grant, it's a loan. And it goes to a certain few. If you have over 20 plus employees, then you can qualify for that.
Correct.
I have a small business, I don't qualify for that. But God wills it that I have the energy to continue going forward and bringing that in there. We've been here for 30 years. And not a bad soup flu is going to shut us down, understand? So, we've seen it before. Now, what do you think about small businesses? Because small businesses now, which is the backbone of our community, we're bullied into submission. What's going to happen now? What would you do different?
Well, I would certainly try to establish some kind of a cooperative so that money could be available on loans, on a loan basis, low interest loan, and certainly help those people try to bring up their businesses. Like I said, the city imposes a lot of restrictions on development of small businesses. They can ease up. These are different times. These are hard times. I've seen it in my practice of law as well, where the clients, struggle to pay you. They struggle to make ends meet, and therefore, sometimes they don't get the best lawyer or the better qualified lawyer. And I'm not saying the richest lawyer, but I'm saying the better qualified lawyer. I just had a case called me this morning. A lady lost her interest in a child. 10 years she'd never seen her son. The son is already 11 years old, and the mother has not. Why? Because they hired somebody, they didn't know anything much, and then what happens? She loses her rights at the first time, and they hired me to be able to, and they're from out of town, to be able to see her son and have visitations with him and see his growth, and then be a positive influence on his life. So I don't know what happened, but apparently the mother had not seen the child for 10 years. And these are things that happen.
Absolutely.
People go through struggles. They go through struggles. You see the lines at the food bank.
Absolutely.
That's another area. They go through the lines at food bank. And what happens? The food is being administered by politicians so they can get votes.
Well,
we know that. We know that. We've seen it. We started with the handing out of frozen butterballs, turkeys.
Turkeys for votes.
Decades ago, yes, the turkeys, and then now you see the politicians there by the Colonia there on Santa Maria giving food away. How do they get it? I'm going to ask the Congressman Henry Cuellar to send somebody from USDA with investigators and find out how it is that food is being administered and given away for political purposes. That's wrong. Those are the things that we need to change. And the only ones that can do it is the people, the voters, and not sell their votes. And that's another topic, Paul, that I would like to address.
Selling of the votes. How would you see that about selling of the votes?
Well,
we hear that urban legend, and they give this and they give that. How is it?
You're going to invite me next time. I'll come back and I'm going to bring affidavits from people, from candidates that are on the ballot, or candidates that are in the ballot that has bought votes. His workers have gone and outright offered $10 to people to vote for a certain person.
Okay.
You bring me back and I'll bring you the evidence.
Okay.
Because I deal with evidence. I see hard facts.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's just like I made a statement about being disqualified. I brought you the order. So these are things that I've done. Now, let me tell you, people don't have to run for office to be able to do something positive for the community.
Of course not.
They don't have to. You can do it if you have the will and the power and the time to do it. You have the will, the desire to better your community. Back in the 70s, I participated. I was a complainant in federal court. I've gone twice to federal court as a complainant. The first one was to ensure the dissection of the political machine known as El Partido Viejo, so that people could have single-member district for the city of Laredo, and it's up my alley. And I was a young man coming back from military duty, and I was doing my graduate work, postgraduate work, and we went to court. The Honorable Manuel Flores served the judge for 24 years, and another lawyer got people from the barrios, and we filed suit. We got overthrown. There was a Republican judge that was appointed to hear the case, and of course, that was the 70s. We got shut down. However, our efforts were noted. We kept on fighting, we kept on demonstrating, and what happened? We put in an election, and sure enough, the people of Laredo won a single member district. Who's responsible for that? Chaca Ramirez, Manuel Flores, Chito Vela, who's deceased, Mr. Garcia. We got a lot of people from La Azteca, people from Los Buenos Aires, people from Los Amores, and we petitioned Peter Montalvo, Chelo Montalvo, good friends of mine. They're supporting me. There are people that fought and kept on fighting, never gave up, and still have not given up to make sure that democracy exists in Laredo. One man, one vote, justice for all. We are a country of rules of law.
Absolutely.
And we need to follow the rules of law. And I, as a lawyer, have espoused it. I participated in cases where we have given benefits to children of undocumented workers in federal court, the U.S. Supreme Court, so that they could ensure an education. It was back in 1980, 81, 82. Sure. And then the other time that I went to federal court, was on First Amendment cases. Well, but another case here locally was when I was commissioner. The Border Patrol, Immigration Service wanted to spray the river, all the vegetation. They were going to kill all the fauna. They were going to kill. It was going to affect all the fauna, the animals there that are in the river, along the riverbanks, and we filed suit. A priest also from San Francisco Javier passed away. We filed suit, and we came to terms with the Border Patrol Immigration Service, where they were going to spray the carrizo, each individual plant, instead of broad spraying. And remember Agent Orange in Vietnam?
Sure.
I mean, it did a lot of damage to a lot of people that came back. They died very young. They never got an opportunity to get married, have children, and live a normal life. So that's why I took up the fight as well. I joined the Colores there in San Francisco Javier area, because it's a river. By the way, it's in the district. There's a beautiful spot there that can be developed with ramps for boating, for kayaking, for canoeing there along the riverbank. Right by down close to the river there by the San Francisco Javier Church.
Absolutely.
And I know my district. I grew up there. I went to school, Urban Elementary, L.J. Christian, Martin High School, LCC. I grew up and I got educated in the West Side. And I'm proud of it, because I don't know what other candidate can say the same thing.
Well, you know, what we have right here is we need to understand that folks right now that are running, sometimes they're doing it just a spite. They don't know the rules. They don't know what happened, and that's what happened with this young lady. Unfortunately, you know, she's out or she's in or what's going on. She's out of the ballot, but I think she's a write-in, no?
She's a write-in, yes. I've heard say that she's put her name there as a write-in candidate. And you know where that goes. There'll be nobody successful as a write-in candidate.
You know,
but Paul, we come back to again. Who is doing the legwork for them? How much are they getting paid? Because we have information where people working on her campaign got paid. They got paid really good sum. So you pay, I have money, I pay, I become a candidate, I become a viable candidate because I'm paying. Is that what we want? Is that what we want for a community? Or we want somebody who really can
we need people right now that are going to stand on their own 2 feet, and they're not used for the ventriloquist, which is a political group.
Well, you have
that's
political groups.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need right now. We need people that can stand on their own 2 feet and say, you know what, I'm sorry, ain't going to happen.
An action in democracy, Paul, happened with the Laredo Municipal Management District. Remember when a person who was running District 7 came and spoke on behalf of this agency from Houston? They were given the contract to represent the city and to get the district through. And what was going to happen? People that had up to 10 properties there in downtown area, around the area, then they extended to Market, which is not downtown. Then they extended all far north as well, as far as Carlton Road, which is not downtown. They were going to pay an additional $20,000 per property tax every year. That means people who own 10 lots that had little businesses, small businesses, were going to get stuck 20,000 additional taxes a year. It was going to cost them that, so that downtown could be beautified, could put trees and. Was what happened? It should be privatized. There should be some collaboration between the city and private owners, and let's work together and do it. A man that I admire, that I helped his campaign tremendously, was a veteran from Vietnam, was Aldo Tatangelo. And what happened? He's got a little walk there, a little 1 block, 2 blocks there downtown, where there are a lot of bars and everything there. That's how they rewarded Mr. Tatangelo.
You know,
But he was a man of vision.
he was a good man.
We modernized the city. I come from that group. We modernized the city. I was in law school, and I would come on weekends, and we would get together and give him ideas and tell him how it could be done. But the ones that counted the most was not Mr. Tatangelo. He wasn't the lawyer that helped him. It wasn't I. It was the people. The people rallied behind his efforts. The people were the ones that controlled and everything. And the people are going to say, Keko, we want you, or we want Mr. Bali, or we want Amber Avis, whatever. By the way, Amber Avis happens to be a family member that I didn't know until she called me and told me who her grandfather was. First cousin of mine. Good man.
He was a good man.
He's a good man. He was my friend, my cousin.
He was a good man. Michael's a good man. I still remember him the last time I saw him several years ago.
Good man, good cousin, man. I mean, he was there always for us.
But let me do this, Counselor. I will have debates. I will have a debate. It will be on September 19th. And we encourage you to come out, and everybody else come out there. And for Ms. Cigarroa, if you would like to come out to the show and talk, please do so. You know, this is open to everybody.
Yes.
And we will have them. And the reason the show has continued is to inform those that are lesser informed, and that's the way it should be done.
But what I caution, my last in closing, Paul, what I caution people is look at each every candidate, look where he's been. Has he been successful in his endeavors? Has he been successful in his education? Has he been? What is his goal? What is his intent? Where does his heart lie? What are the values? What family? And don't lie to the people. Don't say I lived in this district for all my life, and my wife and my mother and father while they lived way up north in another area. And I have proof of that too. I was at Suarez restaurant, not to give him any credit or anything for free advertising, but I was there with some friends, Humberto Bird and what's his name, Meme Menio, and Jose Roberto Alvarez. And a gentleman approached, a young man approached and said, look, Keko, I hear you're running, I'm glad you're running, I don't vote in your district. However, these allegations that the person lived in District 8 all his life and his family, a bunch of bull. Let me tell you where he lives. He gave me the address, he gave me his name, phone number. Again, I can bring affidavit. He's willing to come in the air and say, hey, you're lying. Don't lie. Tell the truth. Just say what you've done in your life.
You know, and folks, I'm going to repeat this over and over. Study each and every candidate. And remember, do not vote by mail.
No.
This bad soup flu, that's what they want. They want you to vote by mail for them to remove the good candidates from being elected. All right, Counselor, thank you for coming out. Thank you for standing up. And folks out there, until next time, peace.
following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.